He won at the Career Builder earlier this year.
Next on the tee from Clovis, California, please welcome Bryson DeChambeau.
5 top 10s. Third start at the Colonial in Bryson's young career.
It's a pretty nice start there, down the middle.
Well, you heard the grunt just a little bit.
Next on the
perfect
tee
opening
from
tee shot.
Marietta, California, please welcome Ricky Fowler.
I want to get into throughout the day just everything about Bryson DeChambeau, including the grips that I just saw. We'll get into that in a second. Ricky Fowler, you talk about a top player, 6th in the world ranking, that needs not just a good finish, he needs a win. You know, he needs a W.
He does. He's had 4 wins, been out on tour now for 7 seasons. Good looking opening tee shot there from Ricky Fowler. But yeah, you're right about Bryson DeChambeau's grips. I'm not sure the average player would have 1 or 2 papers under their grips. I'm not sure exactly how many Bryson has, but he's got to have at least 7. I know John Daly used to have 8 papers under his grips.
That is crazy. We'll get more into that here in just a little bit. DeChambeau, Fowler, and Rahm are off the tee, and we are off and running with our featured coverage. Don't forget, we'd like to welcome our users from around the world watching PGA Tour live on Twitter. As part of the PGA Tour's partnership with Twitter in 2018, we'll be streaming the first 60 to 90 minutes of our premium coverage every Thursday and Friday for free on Twitter platforms. Today, we'll take you all the way through the 11th hole of the Spieth Kisner Stricker group. After that, fans can continue watching by downloading the PGA Tour Live app and purchasing a monthly or annual subscription. Sign up for PGA Tour Live today and don't miss a shot this season. Spieth Kisner Stricker featured group number 2 on the tee. PGA Tour Live continues next.
The new Titleist AP1 irons, engineered to be the ultimate game improvement irons. Experience what game-changing distance and forgiveness feels like firsthand at a Titleist fitting today.
You love the PGA Tour, so why not get more coverage of the biggest names in golf? PGA Tour Live is back. Subscribe today for one-tap access to exclusive early round coverage of live PGA Tour golf on your favorite digital device, getting you closer to the players and the game you love. Download today at PGATourLive.com. PGA Tour Live, the biggest stars, amazing golf.
All right, welcome back to our coverage, PGA Tour Live. Jay Delsing in for this hour. Let's go back to the 10th fairway. Ricky Fowler and Gary is there.
Yeah, from right at 180 yards, ball just drifting to the right.
Well done, boy, Gary. It looks like a Chamber of Commerce morning out there at Colonial this morning. No wind whatsoever.
Yeah, it is right now. As an Englishman, I'm not looking forward to 90 degrees later on in the day, I've got to say that. It's interesting with Ricky laying well back there from 180. John Rahm just over 160 yards left. Just a 9-iron for John. A pretty accessible flag today. Not too many problems short side. I think you can be very aggressive here. And just pulled that a little bit.
I'm not sure he knows any other way other than foot on the gas.
Then aggressive,
Yeah.
aggressive.
Tilt and full tilt, Coach.
DeChambeau, the third member of this, our first featured group.
Yeah, just 2 yards closer. I'm intrigued to watch Bryson up close. It's very interesting watching him warm up. Obviously, everything's different to what we'd normally see. Putting the ball well back in his stance. That's on a much better line.
All right, that one's just a little bit short. If you're just joining us here on PGA Tour Live as we cross the top of the hour, we are 4 deep on this Thursday. Gary Christian on site with the first featured group. And Porter will take the next 60 minutes or so off. Jay Delsing is in now from PGA and PGA Tour Champions player, and I am Jonathan Coachman. There is Jordan Spieth, and Jay, he's going to tee off in a matter of a minute or two. He has not won in 10 months, and he's been very vocal about the fact that he wants to get back in the winner's circle. What does he have to do this week to get that done?
Well, I mean, we got a great look, Coach, at that club in his hand right now has not been his friend like we have known in the years prior. He has held some incredible, just a steady dose of 20 and 30-foot putts over his career at some of the most opportune times. And, you know, we've kind of seen the opposite of that. We saw at the top of the show with some of the highlights from last week at the Nelson, and looked like he had quite a few good putts that didn't go in. Then he had a few, you know, poorly read putts, and he's kind of stated he doesn't misread putts at Colonial, so it's almost like he's putting a little more pressure on himself. But I'm just a huge fan of this young man. He is as mentally tough as they come, and so I can't wait to watch and see what he does.
When you come back to a place that you love playing at, you've had so much success at, first, second, the last 3 years, can that really jumpstart a season that, for his standards, has been below par?
Oh, without question. I mean, as a player, you circle certain events and go, man, I can't wait. You know, these guys, this is a must. I'm playing here. You know, they call this Hogan's Alley because he started off with 2 wins and, I don't know, didn't finish out of the top 2 or 3 for years and years. And the way Jordan his career has started, you know, they may have to put a hyphen in that, you know, because Jordan's played so well here. And as a player, like I was saying, you absolutely love the opportunity to go back to places you have a lot of success. So many of the holes fit your eye, and this is one of those for Jordan.
Back to the 10th green, John Rahm. Speaking of success, his second start, played here a year ago for the first time, a tie for second. So he loves this place. I think it speaks to the fact that he's here this week and not playing overseas, how much he does love playing at Colonial.
Great point. I mean, these players have opportunities all over the world, and scheduling is a little more challenging than back in my day.
So Rahm from 33 feet, Gary?
Yeah, just a general slightly uphill and then slightly downhill right to left. It's interesting, a leg putt in the first hole, see what your feel's like.
He rolls that just a couple of feet past. But we can see, Gary, how smooth the greens are this morning. How do they look up close?
Oh, they're beautiful. They really are. They're just they're spectacularly good. They're at that pace where they're not lightning, so you're not scared about hitting it 3 or 4 feet past, but they're quick enough where you can sort of just get the ball going and it's going to hold its line. Certainly no excuses on the greens here. Just perhaps got to get the ball a little closer than they did on this first hole.
All right, we'll head back to the 10th tee, and the Spieth, Kisner, Stricker group is ready to tee off.
Welcome to the Fort Worth Invitational at Colonial. This is your 8:06 tee time. Next on the tee from Dallas, Texas, Colonial champion and current Open champion, Jordan Spieth.
Who can forget that incredible finish at the Open last July, becoming an iconic moment right after another iconic moment at the Travelers, winning in spectacular, dramatic fashion against Daniel Berger in that playoff, holding out from the bunker on 18.
And Coach, that Open Championship victory, that's what guts looks like. That's what championship guts look like. I mean, he's on the verge of being out of the running and taking himself out with that horrible tee shot, and the finish just spoke for itself.
It was amazing. It was amazing. We'll go back to the 10th green in a moment, but Kevin Kisner, your defending champion, on the tee, he said, quote, this week, "I love Jordan Spieth, but I love beating him even more."
Well, this golf course lends itself to all sorts of champions. You have a John Rahm who is a bomber, really, really powerful, really, really aggressive. Now, Kevin Kisner is not that player. He's going to be more of a strategist. He's going to hit a lot of fairways and try to get a lot of looks.
All right, back to the 10th green, Ricky Fowler for his birdie.
Just a gentle left to right here.
Just slides to the left a little bit, so he'll begin his day with an easy par.
And if there's a club that's held Ricky back a little bit, his putting has not been up to his normal standards.
And Steve Stricker, his opening tee shot, and you can tell from the look on his face he didn't like it, and this is why. You cannot hit it over there and be able to get it close to the pin.
And Strick is one of the great guys on tour, and as you mentioned earlier, just killing the Champions Tour. Great family guy, does great stuff for the community in Wisconsin. And that 10th hole, that tee shot just pushes you to the right. It just looks like you want to hit it over there. Oh, good.
Bryson DeChambeau also a little bit short and to the right. So it looks like once Rahm cleans his up, that our first featured group will begin their day with 3 pars. And here is Rahm cleaning up his par.
And, you know, Coach, there's a rhythm to the round. There's a feel to what you're doing, and you get off to sometimes the longest, 3 or 4 minutes can be that walk from the driving range to the first tee. And you're like, man, I did miss a shot on the driving range, and you get on the golf course and you just kind of still wonder, what do I have today? So we got 3 nice pars, and now they'll go to the 11th and the par 5.
So we have reached the end of May and the Memorial next week, and would you say, as a former player, as John Rahm gets ready to tee off on the par 5 11th, 634 yards, the only par 5 on the back nine, just 2 par 5s here at Colonial. And we'll have to find out where that went. Now DeChambeau.
I've had the pleasure of following Rahm in some other championships, and he can run pretty warm at times. It's he's got that fiery Spanish blood, and he's it's always in play. Really fun to watch him.
You never have to wonder what he is thinking or what he is feeling. So DeChambeau finds the fairway, and Ricky Fowler will tee off, and Gary is there with this group.
Well, it's interesting on this behemoth of a par 5. Very easy to try and hit it a little bit harder than you need to. Most players will have to lay up. They'll have to be very lucky to have a chance to go for this into. So just want to get it in position.
Gary, are there any players in the field today that can reach this green into?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's a couple. I mean, this one's going down the left side towards that bunker. If you can get it past these 2 bunkers down the left, you're inside 300. And it sounds an odd thing, but anything inside 300, these players have a chance to go for it.
It's so true, Gary. Gary, how are the fairways running? You know, are the players going to get a little bit of roll from the fairways? I know we saw the 10th looking pretty soft, but there was also irons played off that tee.
Yeah, you know, it's firm, but it's certainly not fiery. I know, Jay, you've played here over the years, and you've had years where it's been absolutely rock hard and the ball's running 50, 60 yards. You're not going to get that this week. Obviously, you had that big rain that came through on Sunday, or over the weekend, that messed up the tournament last week. So it's just taken the fire out of it. But still, enough pace in there to get a little bit of run on it.
So Stricker, who went to the right of the fairway, and there you can see the big tree that is in between him and the hole.
Yeah, so I can't tell from this angle if he's looking down. The swing he's making looks like he might be able to try to hoist it up and go a little. Now he's going to choke this thing down and try to hit a low something running through the little gorge and hazard.
What a really cool look that was from behind Stricker as he had to carry the hazard, which is 40, 50 yards in front of the green. And now we'll go back to the right side of the fairway and Jordan Spieth.
Pretty much from the mayor's office here, Coach, and man, his hitting has been right on point most of the year.
Wow, and how about that start to Jordan Spieth's tournament to within 2 or 3 feet for an opening birdie.
And here's a clue when you're watching Jordan out there, ladies and gentlemen. When he doesn't say anything to Michael, he really, really likes it. Otherwise, he's got constant dialogue going with Michael.
That's a good nugget. That's a good nugget. Hey, Kevin Kisner, your defending champion, his approach here on the 10th. And that one comes up just a little bit short, but he'll also have a birdie putt to open his day.
One of the things I want to tell the folks just about their own personal golf game, you see Steve Stricker trying to hit that shot under and over, and you were mentioning what a cool look it is. And one of the challenges there is that, you know, if you put too much speed in that swing, that ball's going to jump up high and hit that tree. So he's taken a medium lofted club, probably a 5 or 6 iron, and you just saw him look like he was just feathering on through that ball. That's to keep the speed off it, keep the trajectory down, and try to get a little run on it for folks that wonder how to hit that low shot.
So
Don't
our
swing
two
too hard. Excuse me.
Well, no, that's something that I need to take into account in my golf game all the time, Jay.
Me too.
All right, so Ricky Fowler is in the bunker at 11. Gary, what does he have?
Well, he's well outside 300 yards, so it's just a layup.
The 11th, the only par 5 on the back 9, and it's a fairly, and we heard Gary say it earlier, Jay, that this course is right out in front of you, and you can see this just a very, very slight right turn when you get up close to the green.
Came out a little low. All right.
Very much so, Coach, and I think there's a bunch of angles, and there's a lot that goes on with this Colonial Country Club. There's a lot of nuances about this place, and if you're going to beat John Rahm and you're going to bomb driver, that's a double-edged sword, because there's holes like the 15th where, you know, it looks like you can just bomb it and get over the corner with his length. You might run it through the fairway, through the left side of the fairway. So there's a lot to be taken into account on this golf course.
Steve Stricker at the 10th after his second shot went into the greenside bunker. What a gorgeous out, as he'll be able to save his par.
Beautiful soft hands, and his short game has put a lot of coin in his pocket over the years.
We were just talking about, I'm a big nickname guy. I like giving guys nicknames, and I call Stricker the stacker, because all he does is stack cash.
It's like an ATM.
Yeah.
That's right. I like it. I like it.
And so Kisner and Spieth in that group with Stricker, they'll both have birdie putts, and Spieth hit a gorgeous approach to just a couple of feet. So Kisner will putt first, and then Spieth will go.
Real gritty player. Remember the finish at the Players years ago, 3 or 4 years ago with Ricky Fowler, and both guys just birdieing down the stretch. I always rooted for Kevin.
Those are losses, I think, depending on how you look at it. Kisner slides that one to the right a little bit, that are a little bit easier to take when you know the guy beat you instead of you giving it away. Back to 11, DeChambeau, after he found the fairway.
Yeah, if you look outside 300 yards, can't get it to the green, and he's pulled this one. A little left.
Up near the green.
So much of that lie will dictate so much of what he has left.
And now here is Jon Rahm. Looks like he's on a pretty severe slope.
Yeah, he got a lucky lie though. 293, certainly can reach.
I just love this dude. I just love watching him play. I love how he plays. I love his attitude. I like the fact, Jay and Gary, that he gets fired up and he shows me that he cares and that he wants to be there no matter where he plays.
Yeah, you can't argue that at all, Coach. I mean, he wears his emotions on the sleeve. He's got one thing in mind, and he sees a golf course a certain way, and that's his strategy.
All right, let's go back to 10 and Spieth after that spectacular approach.
Oh, great look. There's no misreading that, Coach.
No.
That almost hit the sides of the hole. That was so in the middle.
Well, we saw him miss a couple of real short ones, and Stricker, wow. I was getting ready to say that Spieth missed very short putts a week ago, and Stricker, that couldn't have been more than, what, a foot?
It didn't look at all like the Steve Stricker that we know.
That just seems so strange to me.
It's a hard game. I don't know what else to say.
You have to concentrate, no doubt, on every single shot. So Stricker's going to bogey his first. Spieth birdies his first hole, and great start for him. Here's the early leaderboard. Martin Pillar and Xander Schauffele, the Tour champion, both at 2 under early on in their rounds.
If you want somebody to follow, watch Xander. He is a great kid and a very exciting player, and another one of our young stars coming up on the PGA Tour.
All right, back to the 11th. We are live with Ricky Fowler's third shot.
Well, lay up in the rough. It's not too bad of an angle. Ball sitting down a little bit. 135 yards, just a wedge. You just got to play for just that little bit of release. Should move right to left once it hits the green.
Fowler, since early in January, just one top 10 on the PGA Tour, and he's had, you know, outside the top 10, top 25s, but really has been an off year since the calendar turned. Back to the tee of the 11th and Spieth.
You see that comment right off the face. He's talking to that ball.
It made it through the trees, and depending on the lie, he's probably going to have to lay up.
Yeah, this is not a hole that Jordan would have a go at into on conditions like today. One of the things, Jordan is not a short player by any means off the tee, but he is also not one of the longer bombers. This golf course is ideal for a player of his length. He's got all of the blends that he needs.
And when you look at